Hi, I'm Andrew. Welcome to Plainview Farm. What I have here, if you can't tell just by looking at it, is a small pile of gravel. For some reason I was thinking it would be just a little bit more than this, but I think it's going to be enough for the project that I have planned for this video. And that project is to clean out the lean-to on my little building here. Put that gravel down in the floor for a very, very specific project. And that project is this. We have here, I believe this is a 50, 51, 52, I don't know, I'd have to look at the serial number again. But this is a early 50s Farmall Cub, and we're gonna try to get the Cub into the lean-to so that we can frankly rebuild it. The motor is tired, the clutch is worn out, we've got fluid leaks here, there, and everywhere, so we need to go in and replace seals, gaskets, all that kind of stuff in there. Probably, some bearings here and there, and we've also got an issue with the PTO, that the PTO will not stay engaged, and there's an issue. I don't know if we've got just bearings that are worn out here in the tube that are keeping things out of alignment, keeping them from staying where they're supposed to be, allowing too much movement here, because I've replaced the PTO lever, whatever you call it, that's inside there. I don't know all the terminology, so you're gonna have to forgive me for that. But the lever inside that engages the PTO, it will not stay engaged. I've tried different things, and at times it seems to work really well, but ultimately what happens is it will throw itself out again. So we've got to dig in and figure out what's going on there. And this is a project that I'm going to work on with my son. My son is 10 years old, and this is going to be a father-son project. So that's honestly probably why I'm doing it more so than any other, is for us to get to do this together. So, but in order for that to happen, we've got to make space. We've got to come up with a place to work on it. And I don't have a really good place to work on it, so I'm going to try to make what I have just a little bit better. But while I still have the little 1026R John Deere on loan from my stepdad, I'm going to try and make good use of it in getting this lean-to ready for the Farmall Cub project. But first, I've got to clean up a lot of this stuff that's just sitting out here in front of the building, so I can actually get to the process of cleaning out what's in there. So this is usually the hardest part of the project for me, figuring out where to start. One of those people, I'll stand around and kick dirt and think and talk to myself while I'm trying to decide what to do first. So bear with me for just a minute. All right, here we go. All right, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is start by moving the frames that I took off the the mounting pieces that I took off the Farmall M for the loader, which the Farmall M is gone. I did sell it. Went to a feller that I believe absolutely will appreciate it and treat it right, so I'm excited about that. But like I said, try to get these moved out of the way. That's where we'll start anyway. Okay. too much. Put a hole in the radiator. Whoops, don't do that, that'll kill it. Go. Perfect. All right. There we go. Easy. Perfect. Put them on opposite sides. Nah. Just lean them both up right here. Whoops. These old straw bales out of the way. Keeps the pipe bale's about rotten. Yeah. Take these back to the garden area. Now we'll put our water barrels we've got 3 of these water barrels that I use for watering pigs. One of them's in use right now, one of them is not. There's these bowl drinkers mounted to the sides of them. Put these back around back in storage. Oh man. Here we go. Forward, don't we? Yep. When I say storage, I mean back here with all the other junk. I mean treasure. Good stuff. Some of it actually is good stuff. All right. So for now, I think I'm just gonna shut down. Those rims are gonna go inside the building. That barrel, I'll just drag it around back. I've actually got some stuff that I need. So actually I originally bought these rims for the M, and as you can see, I mean, they're not perfect. They need to be cleaned up, but they are serviceable. But like I said, I bought these for the M, but since the M is now gone, obviously we're not going to use them on the M now. So the plan is to actually use them on the 300. We've got one good rim right here on the 300. This is actually this appears to be quite solid. This tractor does not have fluid in the tires. So, you know, this rim has held up pretty well over the years. And then, you know, once we get ready to do something with the 300, you know, such as putting tires on it and getting it all going, which I would rather do that sooner than later, but, you know, fundage is is always an issue. But whenever we get to where we are able to do that, then we'll pick the best 2 rims, and they will go on the 300, and the other one we will keep as a spare, I guess. Anyway, we're not talking about rims here. We're cleaning stuff up. So that's what happens. I get distracted. Move this out of the way. So this building is like, for those of you who watched Friends on TV, this building is like my Monica closet. So don't judge me, all right? Actually, you know what? I don't think I'll put these in there. I think I'll put them in the lean-to. I think there'll be enough room for that after we get the gravel spread around. Yeah, let's do that. Forget what I said about the Monica closet. Building is clean and organized. Okay, so we'll keep this pipe. There's just a lot of junk steel right here that I kind of threw up on that pile. For those of you who've been around the channel, you can at least know one thing that's in here. Project that I guess never really actually started. And that is the Oliver manure spreader. It's a Model 11 manure spreader. It's got a lot of issues. And frankly, I just haven't taken the time to do anything with it. I really need to, I just haven't. I've had a lot of good intentions, but you know how good intentions go. This has all got to come out of here. And it is suddenly feeling very daunting. Of course, I guess it's not too bad. I mean, there have been worse things than this shed, but still. All right, we're going to start with the easy stuff. A lot of what comes out is not going to go back in, and I'm going to have to figure out what to do with that stuff, so that's the exciting part. But some of it is going to go back in, so for now we just got to get it all out of the way, which I guess makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to figure out exactly what you're going to do with all of it right this second. Of course, the air compressor will stay in here. Ooh. Water hose. Bicycles. Old cheap Harbor Freight sand blaster. And when I say old, that thing is like 20 some years old. And some just random junk. I mean treasure, random treasure. And this is electrical wire. This is underground electrical cable, you know, in case I ever do get around to putting power in this little building, which that's one thing, you know, don't have power in this building, so I'm gonna have to come up with something, some sort of plan there for whenever we're working on the little tractor, which means I'm probably gonna have to run power from the house into here, or come up with something. I don't know. I've got to put some sort of plan together to get power. That way we can use tools, you know, power tools. That's usually what needs power. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this lumber off of the manure spreader and try to get everything where I can get the manure spreader out, and then just kind of hurry up and clean everything out that way I can put the gravel in the floor of the building here. Otherwise, I'm going to end up spending a lot more time doing this than I want to. Actually, let's just dump or set this lumber down here in the manure spreader. How's that? Okay. I really do think getting that manure spreader out of there is going to make things go a little quicker. Okay. Now, we'll hook on with the little Dear John and move it out of the way. Whoops. I'm paying attention to the wrong thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice. It's almost as if I planned it this way. All right, it's already looking a lot better, isn't it? We got another bicycle, couple tires, some scrap steel, a little bit of lumber, some guttering and downspouts, and just miscellaneous odds and ends of junk that have to, I mean treasure, I keep saying junk. We'll leave everything that's hanging on the walls where it's at, because again, we're just trying to get some gravel on the floor in here, which it's all dirt. There's leaves in here obviously, but it's packed pretty well. It's been a dirt floor for quite a while now, but I probably will scrape around on it just a little bit before we put the gravel in here. But like I said, we'll get the gravel in, and we'll get all the rest of the stuff out and then start working on getting the gravel in. Then we'll push the Cub in here if we can't get it started. It's been kind of cantankerous lately, so anyway, let's get to it. looks like we've got it cleaned out. I took a rake around the edge here, kind of raked some of the trash, old wood chips from, we actually put a bottle cap in here one time, and that's what the wood chips are about. But anyway, tried to rake stuff up in the center. I will use the tractor to try to scrape some of this out, and then start putting gravel in here, I guess. Start laying in some gravel. Whoop. Dump a little bit of it out. Having a hard time staying on all 4 feet. take a look at what we got, maybe push some stuff around with a rake, see where we're at. Okay, so all right, we're pretty high on that side. It slopes out that way quite a bit. I don't know if you can tell it on the camera or not, but you need to make some adjustments here. Hard on head. Now, it would be really nice to put concrete in here, but it's not really in the budget. And I don't know if I want concrete in here, simply because eventually I'd like to have some kind of a garage type shop building, but the thing is, I don't know when that's going to be, so I don't know. Concrete in here might be the right way to go, at least in the near term, but it can't be too near of a term. Because it's just not really in the budget. Just glad to have a roof over my head to be able to work on stuff if I need to. So if I can get a gravel floor in here and get it packed down and settled, and I think that'll work. You know, we're probably still a lot deeper in the back than we are in the front too. But I mean, this probably isn't all that level, the ground in here anyway, so. So there's a lot of grind in here, fines, right, from the rock quarry. I wanted something that would pack. This is what most people put on their driveways around here. It's limestone, it's base rock, right? That's what most people put on their driveways, again, because it packs. And they use this as the base for concrete. All right, we'll scoop a little more in. To be the thinnest right here in the doorway, and this corner needs some. right in the center. A little bit more there. All right, do a little bit of raking here, and then we'll try to pack it all in with the tractor. All right, I took the camera in to recharge real quick, and while I did that, or while the camera was recharging, I laid a little bit of gravel out here in the front of the doors, I guess. Can you still call it an apron? If it's not concrete, is it still an apron? I don't know. If you know, let me know in the comments. All right, so now I'm gonna use the tractor, and I'm just gonna roll over this, try to pack it down a little bit. It's not gonna be, you know, perfect, but at least maybe it won't be so loose. Up. No promises though. Building down, trying to get a floor in it. If I took the loader off, but really didn't feel like messing with all that. Even though it is a quick detach or whatever. Still still kind of a pain to mess with. Okay. All right, I think we will call this good, at least for now. I may need to do a little raking here. Actually, probably need to trim the bottoms of the doors, but I don't know. Maybe I should. I don't know. I can't decide what to do. So I'll tell you what I'm thinking about doing. Thinking about dragging the water hose over and getting this all wet and rolling it in again. Yeah, it would be nice to use a compactor on it, but don't have one. Really don't want to rent one right now. But I'll show you what it looks like. So this is what we've got going on in here. I don't know. There are high and low spots, right? It's not perfect. Again, I'm not perfect at this kind of thing. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know if you can see here, but there's low spots. There's a low spot right there, and you know, a couple other ones. There's one right out in here somewhere, but I think this will work for what I'm wanting to do. So I think I will. I think I'm gonna go drag the water hose out, pull it over here, spray this down really good, and then roll it again, and then we'll bring the tractor in it tomorrow. Give it overnight to set, and maybe dry a little bit, and then bring the tractor in. So we'll pick this up sometime tomorrow. So it is the next day. It is very sunny, but cold and windy. Uh-oh. I ended up kind of coming through and putting a little bit more gravel here in front of the door, and I had to take the bottom board off of the door, which I'll cut them down and get them back on there. But the main thing is I wanted to show you how things ended up in here. So as I mentioned, I did spray this all down with water and roll over it again with the tractor, and that left me a really nice hard pack on the floor down here, which that's exactly what I was going for. You know, we can see here we've got a nice solid surface. Of course, you know, it is gravel, so there's, you know, there's loose rocks and that kind of stuff, but it is at least a much more workable surface compared to the dirt that I had in here before, along with all the leaves and the wood chips, whatever that were in here, that had just accumulated. And so I do have a few little things here and there, a few little odds and ends that I want to get done in this building, but it's not going to keep me from getting the Cub in here and actually being able to get to work on it. So that's the next step in the process, is trying to get the Cub in here. Hopefully I can get it to start and run. You know, we've got a issue with the switch. It doesn't always want to start. If I can't get it started, I guess I'll just have to push it, and that'll be fine too. I do have, sorry about the wind, the pig's gonna come over here and talk to us, but I do have the mower deck loose. It's just laying there. I didn't pull it out from under it, but I do have it loose, have it off of there. Really all I need to do is get the thing started. I took the bracket off the back too, but I just need to get it started to where I can move it. So we'll see if we can get that done. So we'll start with the battery. Get that put on here. Because, you know, batteries are good. Hopefully this one's got enough of a charge. Oh yeah, perfect. The battery has nothing. Huh. Well, that's just perfect. Didn't get very far on that one, did we? Oh well. You know, that little 1026R John Deere, it's one of those that has the drive over mower deck on it, and honestly it probably wouldn't be that difficult to make something like this a drive over type deck for this Cub. You know, just needs some support here in the day. I don't know that the tractor is really heavy enough to cause any issues there, but that's a whole different discussion. It's not really something that we're worried about today, at least. The good thing is they made these really light, so that they're easy to take on and off, or put on and take off. You know, I can't talk. You know what I mean. There we go. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can push this thing. If not, I'll get the little Deer John. Use it to pull. I need to let the brake off. How about that? That would help, wouldn't it? Things, tires were kind of halfway frozen to the ground. And roll. I probably should be using old dear John here, but so much easier just to, you know, do it the hard way. Don't run over anything. A little bit too far to one side. Gotta stop and catch my breath. There we go. It's a little more straighter. Ah, victory! We made it. Well, there it is. Give you an idea here about how much space we have to work around the tractor. This lean-to on this building, man, I'm out of breath. Whew. For this little lean-to on this building is 12 foot wide by 20 feet long. And so, you know, there's not a whole lot of space. But with everything out of here, the idea is that really we just use this space to work on the tractor. The tools and everything are in the adjoining utility shed here, and there is a door over there that we can go in and out pretty easy. So we have our workspace here, we have our tool space over there, and you know, by splitting it out this way gives us a little bit more room to be able to work in here. And you know, this really is, like I said, this is the perfect size for this little cub. You know, we'll be able to carefully split this tractor, do whatever we need to, you know, have space to roll the rear end backwards, you know, whatever it is we need to do in order to move around and work on this tractor. So needless to say, I am very, very excited about the prospect of being able to get this little old tractor back into good working shape and be able to use it more often. You know, honestly, this little tractor, I've used it in the past, kind of almost like an ATV here around the farm, but I haven't been able to use it nearly as much as I wanted to lately because of, like I said, some of the issues we've had with the PTO jumping out, the engine being tired, you know, trying to run that big mower. I say big, that little mower, trying to run that little mower really does pull it down quite a bit. So like I said, the engine is tired, the little tractor needs to be overhauled. So hopefully, you know, here over the next little while, trying not to put any kind of time frame on it, but hopefully it's something that we can get done in the near future. Like I said, I've got a few little odds and ends to do in order to, you know, button up this little project here, but for the most part, I am thrilled. I am so excited to have this, as I said, in here so that we can actually start getting to work on it. So As always, I appreciate you watching. If you want to see more of these kinds of videos going forward, let me know in the comments below. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please take a moment and do that. And as well, I would appreciate it, if you would like this video, that way it'll help other people find it as well. So anyway, again, as always, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time. It's almost like that little tractor was made for that space.